Hey everybody, Taylor Lyles with the Greenville Home Builders Association, and this is the Think Big podcast. Good morning and welcome to the Think Big podcast. I am your host, Taylor Lyles, your Chief Executive Officer of the Home Builders Association of Greenville. I am beyond excited to have, for you Clemson fans, Jeff Scott with Haven Valley Builders here. Jeff, welcome to the Think Big podcast.
Yeah.
Tell everybody a little bit about you, who you are, what y'all do, and we'll dive in.
Well, I appreciate you having me, even though you're a Gamecock. You allowed a Clemson in the building today, so I appreciate that. But I'm the founder and president of Haven Valley Custom Homes. We are building currently here in the upstate of South Carolina in the Cliffs communities. Over at Lake Kiwi, we'll have a project going in the reserve coming up later this fall as well. And build a really good team. We've got 5 employees. We just got started in 2023 and really consider ourselves a boutique luxury custom builder.
So the boutique word kind of gets thrown around.
Mm-hmm.
Let's dive into that just so the people listening know what you mean and what your interpretation of that is.
Well, I think a big part of it is when clients come in to meet with myself and our team, we're going to be the same people that are going to be working with them throughout the whole pre-construction process and then throughout the whole construction process, where sometimes some of the bigger builders, they have a lot of team members, and so people can, move from one group to the next. And I think there's definitely a certain clientele that, wants to be able to come in and sit down with the owner of the company and have them involved with their project all the way through. And that's a big thing. We just believe in being able to sit around the table with our team and be able to communicate and develop those relationships that, are required to have a great project.
I think that's a huge benefit when the owner is sitting at the table. The value add from a consumer standpoint is exponentially higher. You can meet with the salesperson, you can meet with the PM, you can meet with the superintendent, whatever you want to claim them. Yeah. But when the builder's in the room, they're invested.
Sure.
They have buy-in. They're there to make sure that this project gets done exactly how you want it, on the right schedule. Mind you, schedules change.
Right, sure.
Especially with trades and getting stuff done and whatnot. But having that owner in the room during those conversations, I truly believe that your smaller boutique builders, they thrive on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think especially in the higher end market where we are, many of our clients are the CEO of companies or they're the founder of companies, and they want to be able to sit around and talk to the owner of the company as well and know that we're invested in their project just as much as they're investing in our company and what we're doing. And part of that too for me, whenever I was transitioning from my previous career into building, I wanted to be able to really interact daily with our clients, and that to me that's a fun part of the process. Obviously there's a lot of challenges whenever you're building a home, and we're building a one of one, right? It's not like a car factory that's doing 10,000 of the same cars. So there's obviously plenty of challenges that come up through that. But I love being able to sit there at the table and work with our team just as a normal team member, and I think that's definitely something that the clients that come to work with us really enjoy.
Yeah. So Haven Valley's, what's the average price point y'all are hitting right now?
Yeah, we're average price point is somewhere around $3 million. So we have one project that's $2.5 million. We have one project that's $5 million. But I would say our average sales price is somewhere in that $3 to $3.5 million.
Going after those true 1%ers, I love it.
Yeah.
Got that mindset, the winning mindset.
Yeah.
So you touched on previous career.
Yeah.
For those listening, kind of dive into a quick overview of what you did before.
Yeah. So I was a college football coach. I coached for 20 years, coached football for 20 years. I started off after I finished playing football at Clemson in 2003. And I went down to Columbia and coached at Ridgeview High School for 2 years. I was an assistant football coach, and I was a math teacher, teaching Algebra 1 and geometry. And then I was the head football coach at Blythewood High School for the first 2 years that Blythewood was open. So that was a great opportunity at a very young age. I was 24 years old. And I mean, they just built a $5 million football stadium. And the principal at the time there, Dr. Sharon Budden, you know, she had over 100 applicants for that position, and she chose me at 24 years old, which was pretty awesome. And in our first year of varsity football, we actually won the state championship, the 3A state championship in South Carolina. So if they wouldn't have had, Remember the Titans came out around the same time. If that wouldn't have came out, they could have made a movie about our Remember the Bengals, Blythewood Bengals, because it was incredible. We lost our first game to Ridgeview, which was the team that we'd split from. And but then we ended up winning 14 games in a row, and we won the state championship on a last-second field goal. So next year will actually be 20 years since that state championship at Blythewood. So at a very young age, that was like an incredible experience. I asked my dad, who's a longtime college coach, I said, what should I do now after I won that state championship at Blythewood? And he said, I think it's time to leave before they figure out you're not really that good of a coach, and you can always come back, right, if you leave on top. So I did end up leaving. I went to Presbyterian College in Clinton, and was there 1 year, had a lot of fun there in 2007. And then in 2008, I went back to Clemson as a graduate assistant. And Coach Swinney was just the receivers coach at the time. Tommy Bowden, who I played for, was the head coach. And in the middle of that season, actually on October 13th, 2008, we went 3-3 to start the year, lost to Wake Forest, which is not a good thing if you're at Clemson. And so Coach Tommy Bowden kind of resigned or got released, whatever happened there. And they named Coach Swinney, 38-year-old receiver coach, Dabo Swinney, the interim head coach. And he called me that day at lunch, and he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm down here at Firehouse Subs, downtown Clemson, getting subs for the coaches, because that's what you do when you're a graduate assistant coach, right? Run all the errands. He said, hurry up and get back to my office. So I went back, and he told me what had happened. He was moving from wide receivers coach to interim head coach, and he told me that he wanted me to be the wide receivers coach for the rest of the year. And he said, even though people on the outside don't think that we're going to get this job, he said, we're going to get this job. And so that was like my first time seeing his level of just belief and really speaking things into existence.
Yep.
And we had 6 games left of that season. I mean, Clemson didn't really hire him thinking, you don't fire Tommy Bowden after 7 or 8 years and then hire the wideout coach. Usually you're going to go hire a hot name. So I knew we had to win 4 of our last 6 games in my mind for Coach Swinney to have any shot. So our first game we lost to Georgia Tech at home, which we could have definitely won that game. So now we've got to win 4 of the last 5. So we're playing at Boston College on the road. I'm up in the box. And I knew if we lost this game, we start off 0-2, he probably has no shot to get the job, right? They're going to go ahead and go down the road with somebody else. And so about 7 minutes left in that Boston College game, Boston College scores to go up by 4. And I remember being in the press box and saying a little prayer and thinking, the next 7 minutes of this football game are probably going to determine the next 20 years of my coaching career. And luckily for us, they kicked it off to C.J. Spiller. He took it back to like the 25-yard line. We scored a touchdown. That was win number 1. We won 3 of our next 4 games with a big win over South Carolina. I think that was Coach Spurrier's
Got to rub that in.
year. Yeah,
I felt that.
So then Coach Swinney got named full-time head coach there at the end of that year, and I was able to stay on with him for the next 11 years. I was the receivers coach and recruiting coordinator for my first 7 years, and then receivers coach and co-offensive coordinator from 2015 to 2019. So just an incredible run at my alma mater. After that, I got the head job at the University of South Florida, and so moved to Tampa 3 months before COVID. So definitely challenging time. We enjoyed our time in Tampa. Didn't have the success that we all expected to have. But whenever that was over, I really was at a kind of a point professionally and financially that I really could kind of make a decision, what I wanted to do after that. And most coaches that kind of work their way up in college football become a head coach. If it doesn't work out, even though they're in a good spot financially, their kids are out of the house, so they just kind of keep coaching. I kind of got to that point, when I was 42 years old, and I have a 7-year-old daughter at the time and a 2-year-old son. And I was like, wow, like I can literally retire from this and maybe go in to do something else and be able to coach my kids' little league teams and all those things. So woke up after I was let go at South Florida. The next morning, my wife and I woke up. We looked at each other and said, let's go home to Clemson. And so we moved back to Clemson, and I knew I was going to do something in real estate. Really didn't know exactly. I mean, I really thought I was going to maybe find a builder up that builds in the cliffs and maybe partner with them to do a spec home or two, every few years. But after getting up there and looking into it, I decided just to kind of jump in with both feet, and that's when we started Haven Valley.
Let's get real for a second. Are you dumping money into marketing but barely seeing any results? Go Digital can help. Using their marketing matrix, they zero in on your target audience and engage them where it matters the most. Go Digital acts as your full-service marketing team, saving you the hassle and cost of building an entire in-house team or trusting random gurus you found on the internet. It is also important to note that they don't just serve home service businesses. They own one. They've been in your shoes. They know what works because they've lived it. Wondering why I know so much about them? It's because I've been a client for them over a year, and I couldn't be happier with the results. So if you're ready to start winning more leads for less, hit the link in the show notes and schedule a free 20-minute consultation today. That's fantastic. Kind of the all or nothing concept. That is the definition. So kind of pivoting, we talk a lot about culture on this podcast, and creating culture, especially in an athletic realm, is crucial. How are you taking what you did at Clemson and South Florida and Presbyterian and Blythe? How are you taking that, creating that culture, and then kind of relaying it over to Haven Valley?
Sure. Yeah, that's great. That's probably been one of the most encouraging things that I've seen, is a lot of the things that I did learn being by Coach Swinney's side for 12 years have really carried over very well into business. And, I think, Coach Swinney, I mean, he's got what he calls the all-in book, and it's about 400 pages thick. And every August, the entire coaching staff, I think it's about 100 personnel that work in the football department, we all would go to an off-site location. We'd spend 3 days, we'd be going through that book. And that literally is kind of like, this is who we are, this is how we do it, this is why we do it, and this is everybody's responsibility. And even though there's many years where it's the same coaches had been there for 8 or 10 years, Coach Swinney would go through that book like it was the first time anybody had ever heard it. And so I think that was really important, really, because what he was doing was really instilling that and really establishing that culture in the coaches who are going to be in the rooms with those players, right? The head coach can only spend so much time with the players, but the assistant coach, the strength staff, the training staff, he wanted everybody to be on the same page about who we are. And so there's a lot of things that I learned there that I was, being able to bring over from a team standpoint. Number one thing that I've learned, not just from Coach Swinney, but my dad spent 11 years coaching with Bobby Bowden at Florida State. And Bobby Bowden, I say that Coach Swinney is a modern day version of Bobby Bowden. They have a lot of the similar traits and who they are as people. And one thing that I learned from Coach Bowden, even as a young kid, is you surround yourself with good people. And that's number one, right? And especially for me, like putting my name on Haven Valley, there are times that I can't be there every time on the job site, maybe for a site meeting or whatever, whether it be dealing our project managers, how we're dealing with our subs, how we're communicating with our vendors, and all these things. And so, you've got to hire people of integrity that are going to, share your vision, believe in your vision, and be able to kind of instill that every day. And then you want to create a culture where your employees, feel like, they own part of the business, right? They have that buy-in.
Yep.
And I mean, that's definitely what Coach Swinney developed, a lot of ownership from the coaches and the players, the buy-in there at Clemson. And then the other, big thing that I've learned through that is really the power of belief, and really speaking that into your team, and going after big goals and not being afraid. I mean, I tell this story all the time. It was 2010, and we just had lost to South Florida, actually, ironically, in a bowl game And this was Coach Swinney's second year as the head coach, and we just finished 6-7. There's a lot of Clemson fans kind of getting rowdy, saying this 2-year Swinney experience, we need to kind of move on. And I remember this was when Twitter just came out, and I was sitting on the bus after that disappointing loss to South Florida in the bowl game, and I'm like reading some tweets from a reporter that was doing the live interview with Coach Swinney at the time. And Coach Swinney made a comment, in that press conference saying, we're starting 2010, we're starting a new decade. And even though today and this year wasn't what we wanted to be, we've instilled the culture that we need. And I believe very strongly that we're going to look back on this next decade, 10 years from now, and it's going to be the best decade in the history of Clemson football. And I can remember reading that at the time. I'm like, does this guy really believe this? Or is he just, where's he coming up with this? But he did. And sure enough, and that's exactly what happened. So being able to stay positive. Another thing that's a core thing for our program at Clemson, and even what we do every day at Haven Valley, there's a quote by George Washington Carver that says, when you do the common things in an uncommon way, you'll obtain the attention of the world. Right. And so the secret to that is there are no shortcuts. There are no secrets over here. It's just how you do anything. Right. There's a saying that how you do anything is how you do everything. Right. And so, again, one example, I just come back to all these examples. I mean, the night before the national championship in 2016, we'd always go to the movie the night before a game. And so we take the whole team to the movie. They get a large popcorn. They get a large icy. It's just like they're 2 hours to kind of put their hair down, get their mind off the game, and just kind of relax. Well, normal teams would do that, and then the players just get back on the bus and they go home, and the movie people turn the lights on, and there's popcorn everywhere and bags everywhere. Well, Coach Swinney has a policy that nobody cleans up after Clemson. And so literally I have this vision in my mind of these star defensive linemen at Clemson the night before the national championship team. We would actually bring 2 electric blowers to the movie theater. And so the players would literally, after the players had gotten out, everybody threw the stuff away, we have players with electric blowers blowing all the popcorn out, putting it in the trash can, and then shaking the manager's hand there at the theater as we leave. And that's just like one small example, but the message in that is how you do anything is how you do everything, right? Mm-hmm. And so just a lot of those little things. And, and another thing is, I think the best of the best set an internal standard that they try to live to in everything that they do, right? As opposed to if we live to external standards, right, wherever you are, then you're going to have a very inconsistent life.
Yep.
But if you can have that internal standard, not that I'm going to be the best every day, because that's not, always possible, but I'm going to work to do my absolute best in everything that I do. And so, our players and coaches see that out of Coach Swinney. I mean, if he's running a youth football camp for second graders through sixth graders, I mean, he is coaching that like it is the national championship game. He's putting all of his energy and time into that. And so other coaches and players see that. So anyways, there's just a lot of these small things that really lead to kind of the big things. But overall, I think when clients come in and they see that you and your team are on the same page, and y'all communicate well, and you have kind of the same goal and vision, I think that's very welcoming for them as they're coming in to make such a big decision.
I love that. I think that there's a lot of overlap, and clearly, as you just talked about, there is significant overlap. So a couple of takeaways that I pulled from, and I'm hoping people listening. One, Haven Valley has an extremely clean job site.
Yeah, right, that's right. That's exactly right.
That's one big thing. I didn't know
right.
that about Clemson football players and Dabo's policy. I think that is huge because it also sets a model for these young men going out into the world. Hey, this is the standard.
Yep.
You're in college,
right?
And especially with now how college football is,
right?
NIL money and all that stuff, but these are the standards that we live by.
Sure. Yep.
And they're going to take those and continue on in life. But the other thing is, as we know that creating the culture is key, I think that like I said, there's a lot of overlap, but creating that culture to create the experience for the client is also key. Because if you've got it created internally, it's going to reflect
Yeah.
110% externally.
Right.
And that client's coming in knowing that at the end of the day, we're all human.
Sure.
We're building something,
Right.
like you said, one of one. There's going to be issues.
Right. Yeah.
You show me one builder that has
Right.
had a
Right.
flawless,
Yeah.
issue-free
Yeah. Not happening.
build,
Right.
and I will tell you that it doesn't exist or
Right.
the client wasn't a part of it.
Right. Yeah.
And
Okay.
they just didn't say that they had an issue with it.
Sure.
So I think that that's pretty awesome that you're able to bring in a lot of your history with Haven Valley. I think that's a unique experience. I also think that you're probably gaining some pretty good Clemson fans with $5 million home budgets saying, oh, Jeff Scott built my house. This is awesome.
You know what's funny is, especially building where we are in the Cliffs, a lot of people are coming in from out of state, different places, from Chicago or from Texas, but whenever I finally kind of tell them a little bit who I am, a lot of them are Ohio State fans. So then I can talk about us beating Ohio State in the playoff, or different Alabama fans. So it definitely has been fun to kind of talk about that. And basically I say, hey, everybody's looking for a coach, right? I mean, you're looking for your fitness coach, and you've got mental health coach, all these things. And so as a builder, I'm kind of coaching our team as we're going, and it's been fun just to kind of watch all that kind of translate over.
Yeah, builders, trades, realtors. If you're looking for a flooring partner you can trust, look no further. I'm here to tell you about All About Flooring. All About Flooring is a family-owned business with 3 generations of owners that know the flooring business inside and out. They work in residential and commercial projects for both new builds and remodels by providing high-quality customer service and installation for carpet, area rugs, hardwoods, laminate, luxury vinyl, and more. Y'all, they even provide professional carpet, tile, and upholstery cleaning. At All About Flooring, they're more than just a flooring provider. They're your partner in delivering top-tier results that your customers will absolutely love. You can find their website linked in the show notes, or visit their 9,000 square foot showroom at 2111 North Pleasantburg Drive. Now, let's get back to the show. I think that you're in a really good spot because if you look at migration data, the top 5 areas moving to the state of South Carolina, specifically in the upstate, you got Miami-Dade County, you've got Clark County, Illinois, which is right outside of, which is Chicago.
Right.
You've got, we backed off of Ohio State, so you may not have to argue with as many Ohio State fans.
Right.
But Seattle Metro, Texas has got a lot of transplants coming in.
Yep.
And then Virginia popped on the list.
Right.
So kind of that Norfolk area in Virginia. And that, when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, that's interesting. But it's true. They're all from areas that Clemson's beat in the past. So it's great. So listen, we're gonna beat you in football, but I'm gonna build you one heck of a house.
That's exactly right. So it's created some fun conversations for sure.
So talk about, you had challenges in coaching. Yeah. Naturally, there's challenges in luxury custom home building. What are some of the challenges that you've ran into that you didn't really expect?
Yeah, no, there's been a lot. I also say anytime you go into something that maybe you don't have a lot of experience in early on, then you have to pay some tuition. So my first year, I think I probably learned about 5 years worth of lessons in my first year, kind of jumping right out there. And so man, a lot of challenges. Obviously, I think one big one is turned into being a positive is really developing the relationships with the architects. Because a lot of times we'll have a client come see us and they'll tell us what their budget is, and then maybe they go visit with the architect, they fall in love with this plan, they come back 3 months later, and now we're the bad guy telling them that house they just designed for you is $1 million over your budget.
Yep. And
so really learning that, hey, we need to be involved very early and kind of be a partner with them and the architect as part of our pre-construction process. That was a big thing that we definitely learned there. I mean, the other thing is it's just gotten really expensive, right? The land costs because of supply and demand, especially around Lake Kiwi, the lakefront lots. I mean, they have doubled in price just over the last few years. So you have land prices that have gone up, and then obviously during COVID and through COVID, building costs and labor costs going up. Like there's a big challenge there, right? And everybody that comes in, they have kind of this budget where they would like to be and where they don't want to go over.
Yep.
And so really trying to find that way, I think that's a big part of our pre-construction process is, hey, we want to be able to help you as you design the house. Number one, design within your budget. But then number two, to have the cost of everything laid out and then allow you to make the decisions before we ever, dig the first footer of where you want to put your money in your house. And really kind of taking time to do that with them. Definitely been a big part. But I mean, I've enjoyed getting to know our trades and our subs, and I mean they're an extension of our team, right? Mm-hmm. And so being able to go out and just hand them some Haven Valley gear and let them know, hey, you're one of our teammates, right? You're part of this Haven Valley team, and just kind of seeing the pride that you can kind of develop with the groups there. I've learned a lot about sales and kind of where we get our leads and all these things. I think I spent the 12 years at Clemson, a big part of my job was in recruiting. So I went from recruiting a 15-year-old T. Higgins, that's a freshman in high school at Oak Ridge, Tennessee, to now I'm recruiting a 52-year-old couple from Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah.
But
maybe a little different tactics.
Yeah. But you know what? Deep down, a lot of the things are very similar. Some of the communication may be a little bit different, communication style, but from a fundamental level, whenever I was sitting in front of a recruit and his mom, what they really wanted to know is, can we trust that coach? Is what he's telling me, is he going to follow through and do that? Is this somebody that I want to be associated with? And really, that's the same thing when a couple comes in, right? All the builders can show them some beautiful things that we built and all these different things. But at the end of the day, can I trust that person? Because I'm getting ready to hand over a lot of money. I'm out of state, so they're building this away from me.
Yep.
And so a lot of those same reasons that we were successful in recruiting, I've seen that translate into our sales.
That's great. The follow-up on that, so we all, and this is more of a fun question.
Yeah.
So we all deal with the stress, but I'm curious, what is more stressful? Calling a play on the 4th and goal or handling a picky homeowner?
The play on 4th and goal is a lot more stressful. Actually, this has been a year ago, but Coach Swinney had texted me during the season last year. I think it was right after they had this Tyler from Spartanburg called in the radio show.
Oh, yeah.
So the very next morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning, I wake up to a text from Coach Swinney, and it says, "How's the home building world going?" Question mark with laughing faces. And I don't know if he was asking I don't think he was asking, do I want to come back? I think he's asking, should he come over here with me? And so my response to him is, well, in home building, I only have to make 2 people happy. Whenever you're coaching, you've got to make 120,000 people happy.
Right.
You have a lot more people watching. But no, I mean, there's definitely stress in both. I mean, at the end of the day, right, we want our clients to be happy and we don't like the difficult situations that come up. And so you're always trying to be ahead of that with communication and really over-communicating as much as you can. But yeah, I've definitely learned to work through that. But what I tell our clients on the very front end is, if we can have a common level of respect for each other and a great level of communication, then there's really nothing that we can't work through together.
Yep.
And so that's really, whenever, clients are interviewing us, we're also interviewing them. I mean, there's been a couple of clients that we're going to build $4 and $5 million homes that after visiting with them a couple of times, I told our team, I don't think they're the right fit for us.
Yep.
And that's okay. And it's better to kind of know that and kind of move a different direction early on than it is to get into the middle of one of these things, because it's not just stress that they'd be putting on me, but even more importantly, stress on my team. And then I need our team to be our best because we have multiple clients that we're building for.
Yep. I think that's there's 2 things in there, communication being at the pinnacle. Even when you don't have an update,
sure.
Even when something hasn't changed,
Right.
A lot of homeowners, they fall in love because everything's so fast from foundation to drywall.
To drywall.
And then that
drop.
homeowner just sits there and goes,
Right.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
I just saw 3.5, 4 months, depending
Right.
on the build timeline,
Yeah.
3.5, 4 months of my house coming together.
Right.
Outside, it's dried in.
Yeah.
I got drywall. My
Right.
plumbing, electrical,
Yeah.
my MEPs are in place. And then it just stopped. And so communicating that, and
Yeah.
I think what we've noticed a lot of builders kind of fall short on is when you don't have an update.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
reach out.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Tell them, hey, listen, just wanted to give you a heads up.
Right.
Nothing happened this week.
Yeah. No, that's right. And to your point about the drywall, that's so true. And again, communication. So we try to get ahead of it. So at the very beginning, before we start the project, we put up, you've probably seen one of these slides. I think it's the roller coaster of, home building.
Yep.
And it shows the excitement getting here, and then it shows where drywall is, and the client excitement goes down here.
Yep.
And so we go ahead and talk about it early, so that when it happens, say, you remember what we talked about?
Yep.
This is that 2-month window where there's not a lot going on, or you don't see a lot. There's things going on, but you may not see it. And again, just trying to communicate that part. But yeah, I mean, weekly updates, weekly calls. I mean, again, it goes back to recruiting. I mean, if we weren't talking to our recruits every week, somebody else was.
Yep.
And so that common, I mean, that's how strong relationships are developed through communication, right? And so that's something, there's obviously tons of technology and different ways that you can do it. You can send videos and all type of, we send weekly reports, but the big thing is being able to have phone calls or face-to-face for them to be able to come on site and be able to keep that communication going, because it is a long process. I mean, you think pre-construction can be anywhere from 6 months to a year, depending on things that go on there, and then you've got anywhere from a year and a half to 2 years in the build. So I mean, these people are our clients are going to be people we're working with for 3 years on just their project.
Yeah, I think the second takeaway I had from that, like post communication, is the fact that as a luxury custom home builder or home builder anywhere, you don't have to say yes to every client. You are entering. Like I was talking to a builder the other day, and I was like, date them.
Right.
See if you're a good fit.
Right.
See if you connect, because you're entering, like you said, a 3-year commitment.
Right.
Like to me, that. I'm bought in at that point.
Right.
I'm completely invested, because you're going to trust me with your money.
Right.
I'm going to trust you to go through this process with me and be willing to understand, hey, it's not going to be perfect. So I think another big key is date the person, see if they're a good fit for your culture, see if you're a good fit for them.
Sure.
Because again, not everybody's perfect for everybody.
Right. No, that's a big part, and definitely. That's the great thing about the, even in the pre-construction process, like if a client signs up to work with us, we sign a pre-construction agreement. I mean, we're still dating until we get done with the pre-construction process before we really sign that construction agreement. And we definitely let the clients know, hey, just like y'all are interviewing us, we're interviewing you, and hey, does this make sense for us to work together?
Yep.
And I think you can save a lot of headaches and problems just from kind of being transparent on that side and being willing to kind of say, no, I don't think that we're a great fit. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I love it. So as we start to wrap up, I got a couple of kind of rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
And this is kind of more based around Haven Valley as a builder, styles, etc. So is Haven Valley cost plus or fixed price?
We're cost plus.
Perfect.
Yep.
Favorite trends or building style, for example, mountain rustic, modern.
Yeah.
What's Haven Valley's go-to?
Yeah, mountain modern.
Really?
Yeah.
Favorite feature in a home that Haven Valley has built so far?
Okay, favorite feature. Oh man, this is there's a couple good ones here. I would say, I mean, one house we're doing right now has a incredible kind of man cave with a golf simulator, but I mean, this thing is decked out all the way. It's going to be pretty wild. And then I have another one we're going to be building. We're working with MHK Architects, and we're actually going to be building their idea home. And it's going to have it's going to be in the landing at Kiwi Springs. And we're going to have an unbelievable feature on that one. I don't want to give away too much, but the main living area and dining room is going to end up being able to be open air on both sides.
Oh,
which would be
that's cool.
Pretty spectacular. So there'll be more to come on that one for sure.
Oh, can't wait. I love the little teaser on that. Jeff Scott dropping little golden nuggets.
That's right.
I love it. And favorite area to build in?
Oh, man. Golly. Well, obviously, upstate of South Carolina would be the overall answer to that. But right now we really love Lake Kiwi and where we are. I've always enjoyed Lake Kiwi, and so right now that's where we are. But we're going to have 2 projects going on in Cashers later this fall. So that's going to be a new area for us to kind of work our way up there. But right now we're loving the Cliffs and Reserve area over there on the lake.
I love it. Well, Jeff, I really appreciate you taking the time. For the people listening, if they want to get in contact with you, if they're a homeowner, what's the best way for them to get in contact?
Yeah, you can either go to our website, which is havenvalley.com. Definitely recommend that. You can see some of our projects that we have going on now and some that we've completed. And then also you can reach out to me directly at jeff@havenvalley.com.
Perfect. And then any trades, anybody that you need more support from?
That's a good question. We've gotten a lot of good calls from HBA, Greenville HBA members, trades. We're kind of putting together some of those teams right now. But I think right now we're in pretty good shape at most of our trades. But yeah, feel free to reach out, and I'm always love to have a conversation and see if it fits.
Perfect. Well, Jeff, greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
Although you coached at Clemson, I still appreciate you sitting down with me.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to listen to the next one. We can't wait to see you. And that's all we have for you today. Thanks for listening to the Think Big podcast. If you can do me 2 big favors, if you can subscribe to the podcast to continue getting updates whenever new podcasts drop. And also, if you can scroll to the bottom of the page and just give this podcast a review. We want to continue pushing it out to more people, sharing what we're talking about, and educating more people in the building industry. I would also like to say a huge thank you to 2 of our sponsors, All About Flooring and Go Digital. If you're interested in sponsoring the Think Big podcast for 2025, be sure to reach out to the HBA of Greenville today. Thanks.